Okay. So far what we completed. We discussed about the meaning of the course Oracle Fusion Cloud Financials application. What does it mean by Oracle Fusion Finance and Cloud and applications? These are the points we discussed. So along with that, we discussed about the landscape of the instances and how to create the user and what basic roles need to be assigned to the user and what roles we call as seeded roles. The roles what Oracle is providing, those roles we call as seeded roles. And by using the functional setup manager, and if you assign application implementation consultant role to any user, you get access to FSM, functional setup manager. With that, you can do the setups. So before we go and do the setups, what we have to do within the FSM, we discussed. Right. So once you get access to FSM, functional setup manager, we have to enable offerings and options. We have seen how to enable offerings and options. And we need to create implementation project to do the setups. Implementation project is not mandated to complete the setups. Without implementation project, you can create the setups, but there is slight difference between those two. We will see that very soon. So during the implementation project, we included offerings and options as a part of implementation project. And also we have seen system generated task list and we updated status, offering level, option level, task list level. Also, we can assign the offering or option or task list or task to specific team members so that we'll be able to check the progress of the project. Here, when you say implementation project, we are talking about only system configuration, system setups. It doesn't mean all the implementation, what we do in the project. Okay, this is just very much limited to one activity called as system configuration. So this is what we have to understand. So once implementation project is ready, we can perform the setups. So before we go to proceed the setups, we have to understand few points. Once we are comfortable with those, yes, we can start doing the setups. Say you got access to instance as an implementation consultant for finance. Yes, the very first step is you have to create your own user. You created and you assign the roles. The second step, enable offerings and options. Third step, you are going to do you created implementation project. How many implementation projects we have to create, we discussed. If you are implementing for the client for one country, yes, create one implementation project. If you are implementing for multiple countries, you have two options. For each country, you can create one implementation project, or multiple countries, you can create one implementation project. This is how you can make a plan and you can do. Once we start doing the setups, you can find if you create one, what is the flexibility? If you create multiple, how you can just have a flexibility or just kind of challenges. These points we will understand once we start doing the setups. So if you want to do the setups, you should aware of the application, how to use that application, what you have to create, how to create, we should understand. That's what we are going to focus in the today's session. In today's session, we are going to talk about transaction. If you want to create the transactions in the system, what information is required? Say you want to create the transactions in the system. If you are going to create the transaction, what is the basic data you have to capture? You have to capture date information when you are recording the transaction and what exactly you did, what activity you did. Say you purchased, yes, you record. You sold something, you record. You paid some amount, you record that. You received some amount, you record it. So whatever you did, that you have to record in the system as a part of business. So that you can call as the activity, what you did, you can write in the system as a description, details of the transaction. The description of the transaction. Description talks about what exactly you did. And the value of the transaction, the amount of the transaction, you can enter, say, 10,000 amount. These are the three primary components in every transaction which we have to include. when you did some activity, what activity you did, and the worth of that transaction, the value of the transaction, what you spent, means the amount, how much you spent, or else how much amount you received or paid, whatever. What activity you did, accordingly the amount you have to enter in the system. So this is what we have to plan. So if you want to create the transactions in Fusion applications, you have to keep this data ready in the instance. You have to keep this data ready in the instance so that anyone can go and record the transactions in the system. We'll go one by one. Okay, date, description, and amount. First, we'll pick the date. If you want to capture the date within the system, how to capture? What we have to create? If you want to capture the date within the system, when you create the transactions, we have to select on which date you are recording the transaction. For that purpose, you have to create calendar. You can call this calendar as an accounting calendar also. Calendar or accounting calendar. You can call with any name. So calendar which contains dates and months and years. Accounting calendar, yeah, the same you can use to create the accounting also. Okay, going forward, you'll understand what is the meaning of accounting. If you are not aware of what does it mean by accounting, no worries, just wait for some time. Fine. So how to create the calendar in our Fusion application? What are the parameters we have to consider? So it's always we create calendar based on for which country we are going to do the implementation. For which country you are going to do the implementation. Based on that, you can create calendar. Say you are going to do the implementation for India, one of the Indian client. It's very simple. What is the financial year for India? We have to know. By following that, we have to create accounting calendar. If you are implementing for one of the Indian client, this Oracle Fusion applications, what is the financial year in India? April to March. Yes, you have to create your accounting calendar starting with April month, ending with March month. If you are implementing Fusion applications for a US client, what is the financial year in US? Just follow it. In US, financial year is Jan to December. Create in the system as it is as a calendar. This is what we have to understand. So when you create calendar in the system, what are the points you have to understand? The financial year for the country you should know. That's it. Done. What are the other points we have to consider? When you create accounting calendar, yes, you follow the financial year when it starts and when it ends. And what are the periods? The period type. Ideally, the period type is monthly. You look at the calendar. Okay, mostly the primary classification for the dates in the calendar is classified into months only. Months, the months can be grouped into quarters. The quarters will be part of the specific year. So first point is financial year. You should be aware of that country financial year. Second point is period type. So are you going to create the accounting calendar with day as a period, or a week as a period, or a month as a period, or a quarter as a period, or off year or year as a period? Ideally, month as a period. That you can say period type is monthly. You create a calendar with monthly. And if you talk about calendar with months, how many months you can have? 12 months. In a calendar, in any financial year, you can have it 12 months. But in the system, you have a flexibility to create more than 12. That means you can create additional periods. So if you are going to create the calendar in the system, yes, you choose the country financial year to create, and you choose period type as monthly. If period type is monthly, how many periods you can have? 12. But in the system, we have a flexibility to create more than 12. If you are creating more than 12, those periods we call as additional periods. What purpose we need to create additional periods? Say, when company is going to close the year, end of the year, they have to close the books. You take US financial year, Jan to December. They do the business throughout the year, and end of the year, they have to close their books. They have to close their books and they have to prepare internal and external reports, and they have to submit. When they are closing the books, what is the last or final month in the financial year? December. So within the December month, they can record some adjustment entries, certain transactions which they are not able to finalize. Whether those are bad debts, we have to treat as bad debts, or we can collect the payments from customer, or whatever they are dealing with the suppliers. Certain things which are not finalized, where they cannot take the decision, those they can enter some as adjustments. They can record some adjustment entries. Those they can record in the December month, last month of the year. If they don't want to record in that last month, because those are not real transactions they are doing, they are just want to pass the adjustment entries. For that, they can use the additional period. The additional periods, whatever we create in the calendar, those we call as adjustment periods. Adjustment periods. Another very important point is you have to think about future also. Okay, how to think about future. What does it mean by thinking about future? So if at all you require adjustment periods, you have to take the decision now itself. There are many clients who created a calendar without any additional periods, adjustment periods. 12 periods, that's all. The reality, adjustment periods, additional periods are not mandatory, but it may not be mandatory now. In future, if you want to use adjustment periods, it is not possible. Now itself, you have to decide for future purpose also. You have to think about future. So you may want to record certain adjustment transactions in the last period of your financial year. That is okay. No issues. But in future, if you make a plan, I want to maintain this adjustment entries or say provisions in the separate period. As per your decision, it is not possible in the system. That is the reason always we suggest in every implementation to have at least one adjustment period in the calendar. So it means 12 plus 1. 12 real periods, one we suggest as adjustment periods. If some client says, no, we don't want, we cannot do anything. We have to agree. The client is going to use, we are going to provide the consulting services. We are going to help them how to use the system. We can tell them which is good, which is not good. What is the best practice? We can tell them. If they are ready to follow, if they are ready to take our suggestion, okay. If they are not ready to take our suggestions, if they want to go in their own way, accordingly, we do the implementation. Okay. As a finance functional consultant, always we have to suggest to have at least one adjustment period along with the real periods. They may not require that adjustment period now. In future, if they change their mind to use adjustment period, yes, they can use. If they think we don't need adjustment periods in the future, if they make a plan of using one additional periods to pass some adjustment entries or say provisions, so and so, there won't be any scope. So these are the points we have to understand to create the calendar in the system. First point is financial year, which country you are going to do the implementation. As per the country financial year, you have to create the calendar. The second point is period type. That is monthly ideally. And other period types, you can treat day as a period, week as a period, month as a period, and quarter, half year, anything just you can just frame as a period. But when you talk about standard periods, what we use in the calendar is monthly. By grouping months, you can frame the quarter. For that, you don't need to create quarter as a period type. Months are enough. Those can be framed into quarters or years. And additional periods you can create in the system as adjustment periods. What purpose? To pass adjustment periods. adjustment entries. And future, you have to think about the future when you create calendar. Always you suggest to have at least one adjustment period in the client calendar. If they require, they can use now, or else at least they may use in the future. But if they take the decision in the future to have one more period, it is not possible. So we create only one calendar for one country, and we will keep adding the periods for every year. We don't create calendar for every year. We create only one calendar for one country. We can add the years into the same calendar. So these are the points we have to understand when we talk about calendar creation in the system. Any questions on this, please?
Yeah, hi Lakshman.
Please.
Yeah, so you just said that one calendar for one country. Is it means one calendar for one country or one calendar for one project? Means for
Country.
for only for country only, not for the project.
Country only.
Hi, Lakshman.
Please.
Lakshman, my name is Arun Yunus. The question is not relevant to this class exactly, but I'm facing trouble logging into the instance. I sent you few emails.
Yeah, we will discuss. If you don't mind, can we discuss these points in the end of the session?
I sent some emails. Please have a look.
No. Yeah, we'll discuss. Yeah, if you are not going to be in the session, end of the session, yes, I'll check your email and I'll revert.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
So,
any questions related to this, please?
So
Yeah.
the adjustment periods, when you try to close for the end of the year, are we supposed to close adjustments period and then
Everything we close. Everything we close. So
And
now we
when
are in the May month. Okay. So end of the May, we close May and we open next month, June. We do
Yes.
we record the transactions. We close June, we'll open the July and we record the transactions. If you don't close, business users can record the transactions in the previous periods also. So to restrict user transaction entry in those periods, we have to close. Every month we close the period, current period, we'll move to the next period.
So for example, if you're closing this current period and you're confused with few transactions, you put it to the adjustment period?
No, you never. See, adjustment period would be in the end of the year.
Okay, got it.
End of the year we use.
So, okay, let's go to the end of the year. Then you have a couple of entries. You're still confused.
Real transactions, real business transaction, you don't record in the adjustment period. Some adjustments, okay, there's some provisions you can pass in that. If real transaction, what you have with your suppliers and customers, you never record in this.
Okay.
Some temporarily you can just maintain few. Later you can reverse those and you can pass right entries in the right period. That's all.
Oh, okay. So it's like anywhere you're confused or you need to pass it to the next year, you just close this using this adjustment period.
Yes, there you can track, or else you can enter in your real period only, December month only, if you are following Jan to December.
Yeah.
It's not mandate, it's not compulsory. They given on provision option they given. If you want to use it, or else ignore it and use the real period only.
Usually what happens, like based on your experience, like they use
most of the clients record in the actual real period only.
Okay, got it.
Some clients they enter in the adjustment period. Most of the clients, and in many implementations they don't choose adjustment period also.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, Lakshman, Fayaz here.
Please.
So, Lakshman, for the period, I have three questions. One, so for example, in India, we have April to March, and US, it is a calendar year.
Correct.
So, but in US, we have different accounting periods also. Some June to July, they follow different accounting periods.
Yeah,
so
accordingly you can create.
do the same in Oracle?
Same. You can create. How you want, you can create.
Okay, that is first question. Second question is regarding adjustment periods. So how many maximum periods we can usually open? So usually there is a 1 or 2. So in Iraq,
once we start using the system, okay, only current period we have to keep as open. That's it.
Okay. Now, how many adjustment periods we can create?
Adjustment periods, there is no limit.
No limit. Okay.
You can create.
Okay. Okay, so our last question is, as far as my understanding, these adjustment periods are for audit adjustments and some kind of miscellaneous adjustments at the year end.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
any
the
kind
same
of
thing for the
adjustment.
Oracle also, right? Yeah.
Sorry?
It's the same requirement in Oracle also. So we use for audit adjustments or kind of year adjustments.
Correct,
These
correct.
are
Any, yes,
right. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Thank
so,
you.
can you give me 1 or 2 examples?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Sorry?
Can you give just 1 or 2 examples to understand adjustment period? Like example of what goes into it?
Once we record the transaction, I'll explain, because for you, you may understand, there could be people who don't understand in this stage. Okay, for now,
Okay.
take as a adjustment entries. I'll explain once we start working on payables application, I'll talk about it. You just write
Okay.
this point. If I don't explain, we'll discuss.
No worries. I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Fine. Any questions here, please?
Yeah, do we need every month we have to open the period, or system will automatically open?
We have to open.
Okay.
Those are all like opening periods and all. We are not at all discussing here. But anyway, we will see in the system once we complete this accounting calendar creation. When we are going to record the transaction, we have to think about opening and closing the periods. We'll see that. We'll discuss separately. We'll discuss. For now, the target is understanding calendar creation. If you are going to create the calendar, what are the points need to be considered? Fine. No questions here. Now, so we discussed about date. Okay, if you create calendar or say accounting calendar in the system, you can capture the date. Date can belong to specific period. That's how you are going to record the transaction with a specific date. Means you are recording the transaction specific period. If you are recording the transaction the specific period, the period belongs to specific year also. So that's how everything is connected. Now, description. You can write the detailed information of the transaction. On so-and-so date, what exactly you did, you can write with the description. We'll talk about description part after talking about these amounts. If you are going to record this amount in the system, if you write 10,000, what is this 10,000 all about? The currency you have to represent. When you record the transaction, you have to enter the amounts with currency. You have to represent the amounts what you enter in the system with the currency. Say, for example, you may record the transaction with INR, or you may record the transaction with USD or AED. Okay. Rupees, dollars, dinars. You can record the transaction with any currency, but you have to enter the same along with the amounts. 10,000 rupees or dollars, you have to specify. Now, when you talk about currencies, the currencies are classified into 2 types. Primarily, there is one more classification we'll discuss, but let's say currency classification. One is functional currency. The other name for this functional currency is local currency. The other one is foreign currency. It's very simple to understand. If you are doing the business in India, the local currency is INR, that you call as functional currency. When you do the business in India, INR is your functional currency. Rest of all currencies we treat as a foreign currencies. Rest of all currencies we treat as a foreign currencies. And sometimes you may enter some figure in the system which is not related to currency. Say here you are entering something 10,000, 1,000, 5,000 or 50 and 10. This is how you are entering. Now in the system you have to address what these figures represents. Say the 10,000 is rupees. 1000 is dollars. 5000 rupees. 50 kilograms. Okay, kilograms. And it is score. Whatever you are entering, you have to address. If it is a currency related, the monetary measurements, rupees, dollars, you have to set. If the value is not related to currency, it is belongs to what? That we have to represent in the system. Maybe kilograms or score or meters, liters, square feet, so and so. You have to enter in the system. If you look at these 10,000, 1,000, 5,000, these are represented with the currency. Means those are monetary measurements. Rupees, dollars are monetary measurements. And kilogram score are measurements, but not related to monetary, not related to money. Non-monetary measurements. Non-monetary measurements. For non-monetary measurements, simply you can call as statistical information. Kilograms, score, meters, liters, square feet. This all you can call as statistical information. From the statistical, the first 4 letters stat. From the statistical, the first 4 letters, the prefix is stat. So these are not currencies. Kilogram, score, we don't call as currencies, but in the system, we can, if you are going to enter such kind of information, you have to treat that information as a stat currency. Okay, that you have to treat as a stat currency. That is not currency, but we call as stat currency. That's what we have as per our system, stat currency. So that's how the currencies are 3 types. Type of currencies: functional currency, foreign currency, stat currency. These 2 are real currencies, and stat is not at all currency. That is statistical information, non-monetary measurement related information. Still you can treat in the system as a stat currency. So if you are doing the business in India and US, for India, INR is the functional. For US, USD is the functional. For India, USD is the foreign. For US, INR is the foreign. So this is what you have to understand when you talk about currency. Whatever the amounts you enter in the system, you have to represent the amounts. Talks about what? Monetary measurements or non-monetary. If it is a monetary measurements, means money related measurements, what exactly it is. You have to select monetary measurement, rupees or dollars or anything, just you can select what reality you have. And non-monetary measurements means you don't need to give everything, each kilograms and dollar. Just simply you can say it is non-monetary, it is not a currency related. It's just select as a stat currency. That's it. So this is what we have to understand. So we discussed about accounting calendar and currency. Here, accounting calendar you have to create in the system. As per your requirement, you are going to do the implementation for which country or for how many countries you are doing the implementation. Accordingly, you have to create the calendar. And when you talk about currency you no need to create. Currency you no need to create because it is not as per our requirement. It is fixed, constant. So it is not going to be changed. Okay. So you are going to use the standard code for the currency for every country. The same you have to follow. That is the reason Oracle is going to provide all the currencies within the instance. Okay, Oracle is going to provide all the currencies in the instance. All the currencies in the instance Oracle is going to provide. So that is the reason you no need to create any currencies. All the currencies Oracle is providing, that you call as seeded currencies. Whatever the currencies data Oracle is providing, that we call as seeded currencies. In the previous classes also we discussed seeded roles. The roles whatever we assign to the user called as application implementation consultant, IT security manager, those we call as seeded roles. Means whatever Oracle is providing, we call as seeded. Now, currency information also Oracle is going to provide, that we call as seeded data or seeded currencies. Whatever Oracle provides within the instance, the data that you call as seeded data, and what data accordingly you can name it. The data is related to currencies, you can say seeded currencies. Data related to roles, you can say seeded roles. So this is what we have to understand about the currencies. Any questions from anyone, please? Any
Can
questions?
you explain the stat currency one more time, please?
See, stat currency means which is not currency. If you are entering the amount, the figures related to that, that you call as stat currency. It's not a currency, but you are calling as currency. Say you are going to enter 500 kilograms in the system. For that, you give the name as a stat currency. That's all.
So,
Which is not currency, that you treat as a stat currency. That's all.
okay, so why do we use? I don't think we can. We will use it in GL or any financial module.
We
right?
don't use it for real business transactions. Okay, we don't use it for real business transaction. For some calculations purpose you can use, not for transaction, real transaction purpose. Okay, for some calculations purpose. Say for example, the basic thing. Say you have 4 departments, you paid 1 lakh rent. And each department, what you have occupied in the different square feet. Finance department 500 square feet, sales department 1000 square feet, and marketing department 2000 square feet, and purchasing department 200 square feet. This is how that different departments occupy different square feet in the building where you are paying the rent. 1 second, let me share. Okay, you have 4 departments. For 4 departments, you paid 1 lakh rent. Now tell me how much for each department?
25.
25. How can you say 25? Because 4 are there.
Oh, yeah, 4 if they're
But I
equally
don't want
divided.
to. But I don't want to go with that. Just sharing the rent equal. Each department occupied different square feet. Okay, first department 1000 square feet, second department 2000 square feet, third department only 500 square feet, fourth department is 250 square feet. Now, how you can allocate that rent?
Okay.
There you use the stat currency. That square feet you take as a stat currency. That's it.
Okay, got it now.
Yeah. For
Thank
such
you.
kind of calculations, not for real business transaction, because it's not a real currency, right?
Not real financial transactions.
No,
right?
yes, not real financial transactions. Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions here, please?
Yeah, Lakshmi.
Yeah.
So will be there any chances of implementing this transaction at a time for both the countries, like you have mentioned? If the business is happening in an individual country, the current regional currency will be applied. Or if you are working for both the countries at a time, how do you have to tackle that?
Yeah, you can handle. For India, INR is a functional. For USA, USD is a function. At a time, you can handle.
At a time. So
Okay.
apart from that, everything depends on foreign currency.
Yes, otherwise, if you are recording the transaction in India, USD is always foreign for you.
Okay.
And in India, you may record the transaction USD that can be converted into your local currency, functional. Both also you
No.
can handle from one country.
No, actually, my question is like, see, if just imagine there is a company called Speed. Just imagine it's from the US. Okay, they want to start the business both in US and India at a time. So if we are working on both the countries at a time, how we have to practice?
At a time, like whatever the business they are doing in US, they will record in the US books.
Okay.
Whatever they do in India, they will have a separate books. Those points we will understand. We need some time. Okay,
Cool.
we are in the very beginning. After a few classes, you will come to know for country specific what we create.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Any questions on calendar and currency, please? Okay, no questions. Now, so we discussed about calendar. With the calendar, you can capture the dates, and with the currency, you can specify that figures belongs to which currency. Done. Now, we'll talk about description. To create transaction in more meaningful way, we have to capture the date, description, and amounts. Date with a calendar, amount you can represent with the currency. Now, what about description? Let's talk about it. So when you talk about description, what we have to create, what we have to understand about description, we'll see. Now, if you are going to capture the description, say, you are running the companies, you may have multiple companies or multiple branches. Say I'm taking as a company. So you may have multiple companies, you have to list out all your companies, and you may have multiple departments, and you may do different activity. For each account, we maintain account. Okay, you might be doing the business in different locations, etc. We will see those more detail level. Now, as an introduction, let me take these three. So whenever you record the transaction, you want to capture these details. The transaction belongs to which company? Say you have 4 or 5 companies. You want to capture the transaction belongs to which company. And again, that company transaction again belongs to which department. Within that company, the transactions belongs to which department you want to capture. Okay, so-and-so company, so-and-so department is doing something. What is that? What activity is done? Are you spending some expense? Are you buying something? Are you selling? Are you doing some other activity? That you have to represent with account. Say you want to capture these details. If you want to capture more details, yes, you can capture that. We will discuss later. For now, for our basic understanding, take this point. So whenever you record the transaction, your requirement is you want to capture the transactions belongs to which company, which department, exactly which activity you are doing. The activity you can record in the system with account. Now you have to maintain first all the information ready in the system. So you want to create the transaction, you want to capture the date. First, you have to keep your calendar ready. Within the calendar, you can have all the dates, all the periods, all the years. Accordingly, you can record the transaction. If you are creating the transaction, when you enter the amount is belongs to which currency you want to specify. For that, you have to maintain all the currencies. Currencies anyway, Oracle is providing. You don't need to create. But when you talk about description, we have to create in the system. Oracle won't provide. We have to create as per our company, which details we want to capture, we have to provide. So here, I'm taking the simple case. Say, for example, we are going to do the implementation for one of the client called as DLF. The DLF, you have to list out all the companies, what they have, what are the different entities they have, you have to list out. Or else they have only one entity, but they have a branches. You list out the branches, whatever. Say DLF constructions. Okay, DLF constructions is one business, one company. DLF financial services is another business. So DLF BPO services. So they are doing these 3 businesses. They are doing these 3 businesses. And what are the different departments they have? You can list out all the departments. If you list out everything, when you are recording the transaction, just you can select it. If you are not listing out here, every time you have to write these names in the system. So you have to list out. What are the different departments they have? Say finance department they have, HR department they have, payroll department they have, sales department, marketing, purchasing, different departments you can just list out. We get complete information from the client, how many companies they have, how many departments they have, what are the different accounts they are using in their business. Everything we get from the client. What are the different accounts? For our understanding, we will take few values, say salaries account. Please go on mute. Please. Please make sure that you are not unmuted when it is not required, please. And say admin expense. So some travel expense. So laptop purchases. Laptop sales. How many bank accounts do you have? For each bank account, one account, say Citi cash account, JP Morgan cash account, HSBC cash account, and different accounts. In reality, when you do the implementation, we come across thousands and lakhs of accounts. We no need to worry about anything. They will provide and we will create. That's it. You no need to decide on anything. So what are the points need to be considered, what we have to suggest to the client, we will discuss. But simple point here is, so how many accounts they are using? Accounts on basis of what activities they are doing and what they are doing in the business. Accordingly, they can maintain the accounts. So that information they'll provide. Whatever we get from the client, we have to create in the system. How to create? For respective information, we have to give the titles like this. All the companies, you have to list out the information related to company information. You have to give the title as a company. And for all the departments, keep the title as department. For all the accounts, keep the title as account. This is how you have to maintain the details. Now, this complete information belongs to which company? For this complete information, you have to give some title. The complete information belongs to DLF. So say, I'll just call it as DLF Corporation. Is the actual maybe group name. Under that, the data what we are discussing here. So these all companies belongs to DLF Corporation. These all departments belongs to DLF Corporation. These all accounts belongs to DLF Corporation. Now, here, if you look at this information, you have some kind of hierarchy. How the hierarchy here is? So here on top level, okay, on top level, you have this group. Under this group, and you have a 3 segmentation. Okay, data is separated as a companies, departments, and accounts. Okay, data is separated. You can notice that. Data is separated. So how it is separated? Hierarchical manner. The data is separated. So top level you have a DLF Corporation. Under that you have companies. Under companies, under company title you have a actual companies. There is some hierarchy if you notice. And again you have here the same way departments and accounts also. Okay, here you have a, these are the departments. Under departments you have a actual departments. There is hierarchy. The same way here you have accounts. Under accounts, the list of accounts we have. You can find different layers here, different kind of hierarchy and layers. This is the one layer. This is another layer. And this is the third layer. 3 layers of data we have. That is arranged hierarchically. DLF Corporation, under that companies, department accounts, under companies, list of companies, under accounts list of accounts, under departments list of departments. That's how we have. So if you want to capture this information when you create the transaction, say your requirement is you want to capture every transaction belongs to which company, which department, which account. You want to capture in the system. If you want to capture, this is how you have to maintain in the system. This is how you have to maintain the system. Now, this is spreadsheet. I arrange a data like this. Is it easy to arrange the same data to represent with that arrow mark in the notepad? No, right?
No.
No, not possible. It doesn't have this kind of great flexibility what you have in the Excel. In the same way, within our instance, if you want to arrange this data as it is in our instance, there is separate feature called as accounting key flexfield. Accounting key flexfield. Here we arrange this data by using the application called as Excel. The Excel worksheet, we prepare this data. In the same way, if you want to arrange this data within the Fusion applications, what we have? We have a feature called as accounting key flexfield. Accounting key flexfield. In the Excel, these all fields are very flexible. All the cells or fields are very, very flexible. You can insert anything, you can drag and drop and connect. Many things you can do. These fields are very much flexible. In the same way, in our Fusion application, we have a flexible fields. We have flexible fields. In the Excel, we have all these fields or cells are very, very flexible. You can draw anything, you can just do anything. Very, very flexible. So in the same way, within our Fusion applications also, we have fields. What kind of fields? Very, very flexible fields we have. By using that flexible fields, you can maintain key data. What kind of data you can maintain by using that flexible fields? Key data. Key data. Key flexible means the fields which are very flexible to maintain the key data. And what kind of key data? Counting related data. When you create the transaction, so this information will be useful for accounting purpose. This transaction belongs to which company, this transaction belongs to which department, and exactly this transaction belongs to which account. This information is more related to accounting. Here you can see within this we have accounts, departments, and company. Out of this company department, what activity you are doing, very, very important. That you can capture as account. They are representing with account. Account means they are talking about account, this information. But what about this company and department? Those are also important, but they cannot include everything in the name. They cannot say company, department, account, company, department, accounting flexfield. They cannot give the name. Out of this description, very important is what you did. What you did that you can represent with account. That is the reason they are giving the name as accounting key flexfield. Accounting key flexfield, they are giving the name. Not only accounting information is key information. Yes. Along with that, which company, which department also is a key information on them. They are not including, but we have to understand. So that is the meaning of accounting key flexfield. By using accounting key flexfield, what you can do is, whatever the key information of the company which is required to capture the description, you can store that within this accounting key flexfield by following such kind of hierarchy. The same hierarchy you can establish by using accounting key flexfield. So accounting key flex, what is the use of accounting key flexfield? By using accounting key flexfield, you can maintain company key information which is required to capture as a description in the each and every transaction. This is what we have to understand. There are a few other points we will explain. Now, this would be so early to discuss. I'm not talking about those. You can wait for some time. If you know already, you no need to think why I'm not talking. So this is the meaning of key flexfield, accounting key flexfield. Okay. There are flexible fields in our Fusion applications. which will allow us to maintain company key information, which need to be recorded in the transaction description, where we have this accounting key flex field. The accounting key flex field we have as a part of general ledger application. Short name is GL. Let me explain. If you have any questions, I'll take. Let me explain a few more points. I'll stop and you can ask your questions. Give me some time. General ledger, GL. Within the general ledger application, we have a accounting key flex field. Within the accounting key flex field, you can create all these. How do you create all this? So here, whatever you see the title that you can create in the system as with this name, chart of accounts structure name. The name what we are giving here as a DLF corporation, which is became head for this complete information that you can create in the accounting key flex field with this name, chart of account structure name. Okay, the DLF corporation we create as a chart of account structure name. Now, under this, these are the titles: company, department, account. These we have to record in the system. We have to create under chart of account structure name, because chart of account structure is nothing but this title. This title in the system will take it. Then how we have to take these into the system? We will take these as it is. You can create company, department, account as it is. You can create. What purpose we are using these titles here? This whatever I selected, this data is belongs to DLF corporation only. But what is the use of the titles? What is the use of titles here?
To record the transaction details.
Yeah, recording is true. But the titles, okay, this complete data is belongs to DLF corporation. What is the use of the titles? Titles are
separate-
segregating the data.
Yeah.
Right? If title is not there, of course, by reading certain things you can understand, but certain things you cannot understand by reading also. So the titles is helping us to segregate the data. The titles are helping us to segregate, means segmenting. We are separating. The titles are helping us to separate the data. This data is company's data. How can you say? You have a title. This data is department's data. You have a title. You segmented, separated. This data is related to accounts data. So we are segmenting the DLF corporation data with these titles. That is the reason these titles in system within the chart of account structure, you have to create as segments. How many titles we have here? 3. The 3 we have to create as 3 segments. Now, as per system, this company we call as company segment, department we call as department segment, account we call as account segment. So that's how we have to create the segments in the chart of accounts. So fine. These titles we can create in the system as a segment, since those titles are helping us to segment or separate the data. Under the titles, you have these data. This data, as per system, we call as values. Anything you enter in the system point of view, in the system language, that is a value. So these are the details which we have to maintain under respective segments. So this you can treat as per system values, company values, department values, account values, system language value. So these values we have to maintain. When you call it as a company, company values. When you call it as department, department values. When you call company as a segment, these are segment values. Which is segment? Company segment. When you call it as a company segment, all the companies we can call as company segment values. These all are company segment values. These all are department segment values. These are account segment values. Means we create segments And for each segment, what are the values we have, those we have to create as a segment values.
A quick question.
One second, no, please don't mind. Give me some time. I'll stop and you can raise
Yeah.
your questions. If you have
Okay.
many questions, my request is don't mind. Please make a note. You may forget.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So segment values. These all we call as segment values. Okay, company segment values, department segment values, account segment values. This is how we have. Since this is spreadsheet, I can simply write anything anywhere and I can connect with this arrow mark or some other just icons or anything else. But this is not possible in the system. Okay, by using accounting key flex field, we can maintain this complete data we discussed. Yes, we can maintain everything. Within that, for this title, okay, for this title, we create chart of account structure name. And for these subtitles, we create segments. Under subtitles, what are the values we have that we have to create in the system as a segment values. In the spreadsheet, I am able to write all these, but in the system, you cannot write all these under segments as a segment values, not possible. For that, what we have to do is to maintain all the companies. To maintain all the companies, what we have to do is you have to create company value set. You have to maintain company value set. By using the within the company value set, you can list out all your companies. Now this value set you can assign to your company segment. That's how it works. Directly, you cannot create values, segment values under segment. Where you have to create? Under company value set. To maintain all the company's information, you create value set. Means this value set acts as a container. It contains values. Which values? That is created for which segment, that values. So you can create one company value set, list out all your companies. Now assign this company value set to company segment. Just assign. Now this company segment can have access to all these company values through this value set. The same way you create department value set and maintain all your departments within the value set, not under department segment. Not possible as per system. Okay, you just maintain under or within value set. You assign that value set to where that values are required. These are the department values. Department values where we required under department segment, but we cannot create. We can create by using value set. So in the value set, we have a departments. Now the value set you can assign to department segment. So assign department value set to department segment. So with the help of this value set, the department segment can have access to departments. The same is applicable for account also. Create account value set. So you cannot maintain accounts under account segment. You can maintain accounts within the account value set. You can maintain within the account value set. So now assign this account value set to account segment. So this is what we have. The system point of view, this is what we are going to do. But before that, we should understand. Directly, if you jump, lot of confusion. So each segment, we have to maintain the values. It is not possible to maintain the values directly under segments. For each segment, we have to create value set. You can maintain the values in the value set. Those values value sets you can assign to account. It means create segments and create value sets and assign value sets to this. Will see later, no worries, we'll assign. So create value sets, then within the value sets you can create values, segment values you can call, segment related values. So this is what we have to understand. So this is what we have to understand. So if you want to capture the description of any transaction, so this is how we have to maintain the data in the system. To maintain the data by following this hierarchy, you have to follow this in the system. By using accounting key flex field, you can maintain the data in the system. Where we have a accounting key flex field in the general ledger application. Yes, you have accounting key flex field. How do you create this complete information? The title you can give in the system by using accounting, chart of accounts, structure name, and the subtitles you can give with the concept called as segments. Under that, the values you can give. Okay, with the help of value set, you can create the values. So ultimately, so if you want to maintain the description of the transaction, this is what we have to create. Okay, I'm just highlighting the bold. So this is what we have to create in the system. Okay. This complete information you can simplify when you call it as chart of accounts. For description purpose, what we have to create in the system? Chart of accounts. Simply you can say chart of accounts, COA. Okay, COA you can create. Chart of accounts you can create within the instance by using the chart of accounts. You can maintain company description. So whenever you are going to record the transactions, what you can do from the calendar. Okay, from the calendar, you can capture the date and the amounts you can represent with the currency, and the activity, the description you can specify with the help of chart of accounts. Okay, with the help of chart of accounts. So this is what you have to understand. Still, there is a lot of information which we have to discuss. We will discuss. Any questions on what we discussed? You focus on what we discussed only. What we not had discussed, we will discuss. Then you can ask your questions. So far, whatever we discussed, based on that, any questions, please? Questions, please.
So, sir,
Yep.
what about value set for one company changes with the other one? Like construction might have different departments, financial might have different departments.
We can have those departments common. Let construction use the same finance, and the DLF finance, let use finance. BP also use finance. You don't need to duplicate for each and every company by creating so same departments again and again. You can keep as a common. They use with the combination.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what about the account value set? Because sometimes the company, based on the nature of the business, the values might drastically change, right? The
Yeah, you
account
maintain
value.
everything. Everything maintain which value is suitable for which company, which department you choose it. In the system, you can set the restrictions also. This company can access to only these departments. This company can have access to only these accounts. The rules you can set. Those are the different concepts.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Create everything, whatever you need for all the companies, whatever the departments you have list out. All the companies or all the departments, whatever the accounts you are using, list out. You can set a rules also, which is not accessed by what. You can set a rule. That's how.
So in this scenario, we'll have department value set having all departments from every company.
Belongs to all the companies. Yes.
And same to the account value set, and then your restrictions will take care of everything. When
yes.
you
how you want to restrict, you can set.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Lakshman, like so can we for company value set we have like so can we understand like we have some master tables like a company value set, department value set, and account value set as three different master tables?
Whatever you create in the system, it will get stored in the tables. I'll show you the tables also. We have one session where we talk about SQL query, where you can write SQL query. When we talk about that, I'll take you through where you can find all the tables.
Right. Okay. So
Everything,
my
yes.
question.
Everything will be stored in the specific table. Value set, separate table. Yes.
Okay. So like that means like even company value set has a different table and department value set has a
No,
different table.
no.
Everything okay.
Value set table would be there. Any value set you create, it will go and sit in that same table.
Okay. And the chart of account is like a based on the segmentation that we did, that how we configured, we will have the detailed information in the chart of account, right?
Correct. The complete hierarchy. How many segments we have, how many values we have, everything can be part of chart of accounts.
Okay. So kind of a master and child tables.
Yeah, hierarchy point of view, you can say, but here we don't use that terminology. We use that terminology when we talk about values. See, here you have a accounts. Here you can create parent account, child account. We will see that. That is separate concept. Yeah. Here don't go with parent and child. Look at hierarchy. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
The parent and child terminology is not applicable here. Whatever we discuss, we are discussing, not applicable.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the hierarchy, like like is there any limitation? Like what is the minimum number of segments and what is the maximum number of segments?
We'll discuss. That is the next.
Okay.
That is the reason I asked. I just informed what we discussed. Let's discuss in that. Your question is very much valid. That is my next point. See, generally I get questions. Whatever I am going to discuss after this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'll explain. That is very important. Many points are there. There are a lot of information which you have to understand. I'll take you through step by step.
Okay.
And only now the target is whatever we discussed within this. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
So, Lakshman Fayaz here, one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how the system will understand where the transaction should go? So, for example, in accounting side, we have salaries. If you post a salary entry, so how the system will understand salary belongs to which department or which company? So, is there any logic that we need?
We select. I select DLF constructions and department as a payroll, and I select account called as salaries. It creates the combination of DLF constructions, payroll, and salaries. That's how it will understand.
Okay, so we are going to create a combination.
Yeah, combination. Yes, we select and we create combination.
Okay.
We'll discuss
So
that.
we
We call it code
will
combinations.
discuss. Okay.
So we just everything we are going to see. Everything we are going to see. Yep.
Sure. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
And yeah, my like I have one more question, continuation to my previous.
Yep.
So in the chart of account, we have that hierarchy, right, from company to the account, correct?
Company to account, you have hierarchy. It's not a company to hierarchy we have. These are the three segments. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Segment 1 is company, segment 2 is department, and segment 3 is account, correct? It's kind of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Is it?
When you say hierarchy, it is under DLF corporation. That is a hierarchy. Yes.
Okay. Suppose like a DLF constructions, finance, salaries is one entry in the chart of accounts, and a DLF construction, HR, salaries is another
Yeah,
record.
you have different entries. Okay, different combinations. We have different entries. Okay, got it. What is your question?
Okay. So even like does this hierarchy go up to GL? Like is it only restricted whatever the hierarchy that we are?
Don't think up to that extent. It will confuse a lot. Okay. So simply try to understand. This is how it will create. We have to create. When we create the transaction, we will talk about more detailed level how it goes. In between, there are many points which you have to understand. Okay.
Yeah.
If I answer to your question again, there is something else which we have to discuss, then it will be meaningful.
Okay. So like why I got this question, right? So I have the DLF constructions in India and DLF constructions in some other country, US also.
Okay, one second.
Yeah.
If you have a DLF constructions in India and the US, you create as a two companies, DLF India, DLF USA. That's it. That's how you can track the transactions separately. Done.
Okay. Okay.
Or else you have one more segment called as country. Right? So DLF constructions, finance department, some account you entered. That transaction belongs to which country? US.
Okay.
That's
kind
all.
of a job. Okay.
Yeah,
Kind of a geography segment. Okay.
Exactly. Geography segment you can have, but generally we don't go with in that way. We just enter as a two values. DLF India Constructions, DLF US Constructions. Now, when you're recording the transactions, pretty clear, right? So the transaction belongs to which country and which entity. We will understand all this. We will understand all this. Okay. Now, just I'm giving introduction.
Okay.
Sir, same finance department can be used by DLF Constructions
Any
and
company,
finances.
any company.
Oh,
We are not restricting for any company. It can be used by any company.
okay, thank you.
All companies, yes. Right, done. Any other questions, please? Just try to understand. I'm trying to introduce. No need to understand much here. So still we have to discuss. Again, we'll do in the system. So this is a one phase we discuss, and again we'll do in the system. That is second phase, third phase. Once again, I'll be adding few more points related to this. When you create the chart of account, what are the best practices we have to follow? So we have to focus on those points. Okay. So in the chart of accounts, you will have a one is system point of view creation. After creating also, once again, we'll discuss more detail level what what we have to include as a part of real-time implementation. Those points also we'll discuss. So just to understand this concept, any questions, please? No questions. So let me add a few more points. Even if I add few more points, don't think that is a complete definition or a complete information of chart of accounts. Still, this will be open to understand after a few classes. Now, so here we are talking about three segments. We are talking about these segments where we can create these segments and segments in the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts, under this title, you can create the segments. In chart of accounts, how many segments we can create? Okay, in chart of accounts, how many segments we can create? In chart of accounts, if you want to create the chart of accounts, okay, if you want to create the chart of accounts, minimum you have to create the two segments. If you want to create the chart of accounts, you have to create the minimum two segments. Just make a note. Chart of accounts. COA. In chart of accounts, if you want to create the chart of accounts, it's a mandatory minimum you have to create two segments. Those two segments you can take as company and account. Company and account. Always company and account, or is there any change? Those points we'll discuss. As of now, you take as company and account only, mostly company and account only. So minimum two segments we have to create. If you are going to create the chart of accounts, you have to create the chart of accounts with the minimum two segments. Those are company and account. The company and account you can call with the different names also. We will discuss very soon. For now, take as a company and account. And maximum how many segments we can have within the chart of account? Max you can have up to 30 segments. 2 points. Minimum how many required, maximum how many we can create. Other important point is reality how many we create. Reality, if you look at the real-time implementations, mostly we use 6 segments or 7 segments or 8 or 9, rarely 10. If somebody is using more than 10, they got mad. We have to understand that is not a best practice at all. Okay. Then why Oracle is allowing 30? Just to showcase the capacity of the application, they are giving 30 segments you can create, but nobody created, nobody is using. First of all, not at all required. Our application has a capacity. That is the reason you no need to depend on chart of accounts for every data. So as a best practice, always we use 7 or 8 segments. On an average, you can say 7 or 8 segments. If you look at 10 implementations, most of the implementations, 7 segments or 8 segments. If required, maybe 6 only, or else 9 or max 10. So if you are going to use too many segments, doesn't make any sense. That is not best practice also. So Oracle always recommends try to reduce number of segments what you create in our chart of accounts. You know, the purpose of chart of account is as per your company reporting requirement. It's a very, very important point. The purpose of chart of account is as per your company reporting requirements, you have to create the chart of accounts. What reports you want to generate, accordingly, you have to capture the data by using the chart of accounts. If you want to capture the data, you have to maintain the data. For that, you have to create the segments accordingly. Okay, you want to capture only company department account. Yes, create 3 segments. You can produce the reports only for this 3 segment related data. Apart from that, what else you want to capture, those also you have to create as segments. But whatever you want to capture, everything you don't need to take into segments. Every application has a capacity of capturing the relevant application transaction related data. That is the reason, what are the data you require across the applications, not for specific application, the multiple applications, what common data you want to capture, that you can take as a segment in the chart of accounts. We will see those more detailed level. Those many points are there when you talk about best practices. So there we can discuss all those points. For now, just focus on this point. When you create the chart of accounts, minimum 2 segments you have to create. Those are company and account. For now, just take the names as a company and account. Based on some other activity, these names can be changed. Segments are same, we call with a different names. Why, how, we will see very soon. Maximum how many segments we can create? 30 segments. What are the segments? What is the number of segments we create in the real-time implementations? You can see there. In some implementations, 6 segments, in some implementations, 7, in few implementations, 8, 9, 10, not more than 10. If somebody using more than 10, say 11, let them use. I say, let them die. So not required, that is not a best practice. These are the points, please make a note. In tomorrow's session, we reached the time, okay, 9:30 almost. In tomorrow's session, we'll discuss about what are those 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Why those are, why not other segments? There are many points which you have to understand. I'll take you through how we create the segments in the real-time implementation. We'll focus on those points. Okay, just remember these points. You no need to understand from here. Still, there are many points to discuss. Then you can understand. Okay, for now, whatever you discuss, just make a note. Be aware of this terminology and points. That's enough. So we can create the understanding after some time. That's all. This is all about chart of accounts. Please make a note of all these points. Okay, be aware of this. If you have to speak out, you should be able to speak out. Like we have a general ledger application. Within that, we have accounting key flex field. Within the accounting key flex field, we can create the chart of accounts. Within the chart of accounts, we can create segments, value sets, and segment values. And other points like within the chart of accounts, we can create. We have to create minimum 2 segments. Those are company and account. Max, we can create up to 30 segments. And in general, in the real-time implementation, this would be the typical number of segments we use in every chart of accounts. Say for one client, maybe 7, other client maybe 8, another client maybe 9. It depends. How it depends and what drives this choosing the segments. These all points we'll discuss more detailed level in the tomorrow session. After discussing, we'll start in the tomorrow session itself. We will start creating calendar and we'll go through the currency. If time permits, we'll start creating the chart of accounts. And again, after discussing in the tomorrow session, we will try to create the chart of account. After creating the chart of account also, there will be few points which we have to understand after discussing few other topics. Otherwise, I can dump everything now. It will become mess. No, our target is understanding, not just discussing. So that is the reason I am not going to introduce everything now itself. Whatever you can understand now, we'll discuss after going certain extent. I'll introduce few other points. Then that makes sense. We'll go in this way. So we're done for today. If you have any questions, please stay back. We will discuss. If you don't have any questions, we'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Any questions from anyone, please? About
So-
calendar, currency, chart of accounts.
So I have a question like accounting key flex field. You really made us understand the keyword, flex field and all that. Under that, you
Not
should set up.
required. Not required. Nobody will ask you. Okay, but I want to make you to understand what is the meaning of it.
Yeah, but the first time I understood it very correctly. Otherwise, I never used to understand these things. So below that, you said chart of accounts. So under the accounting flex field, it consists of all this, right?
In accounting key flex field, we create chart of account. Inside of the chart of accounts, we create segment, value sets, and values.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Yep. And if you want to understand from top, in general ledger application, we have accounting key flex field. In accounting key flex field, we can create the chart of accounts. Here, chart of accounts is nothing but the title name. Okay. Just say simply chart of account structure. Chart of account structure represents this title. Or else, by combining all these also, you can say chart of accounts. But
Yeah,
anything inside. Okay.
Got it. It's clear.
General ledger, we have accounting key flex field. In accounting key flex field, we create chart of account structure. In structure, we create this.
All these things. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So does one accounting?
Not only this, one second, since we discussed. Anything we do, just look at the name and read and understand the meaning. There itself, it gives better clarity. If you can understand the name, you are just, without thinking, you are connecting to that point. Okay, anything. See here, accounting key flex field. We discuss the meaning of it. Okay, the system, there is a flexible fields where you can store the key information. Key information means important information, segments, data related to accounting. Yes, not only accounting, a company department, but name they are giving as account. So here, chart of accounts. See, chart of accounts. So do you think this is chart for accounts only?
No.
This is chart for company departments also, right?
Right.
This is chart for all, but here, since already they highlighted accounting, that is the reason here also they are taking accounting. Out of all these company chart, department chart, account chart, important chart is account.
Account.
They are taking as a chart for accounts, not only chart for accounts. A chart for companies, it is chart for departments, it is chart for something else. If you take something else as a department. And these charts, how we have in the system? By following some structure, right?
Yes.
So by following certain structure and hierarchy, that is the meaning of chart of account structure. Okay, this is what we have to understand. You just anywhere. I'll try to explain. Okay, wherever applicable, somewhere if it is missing and if you want to understand, let me know. I am ready to explain the meaning everywhere. Okay, anything we do, there is reason. It is not like this is Oracle Fusion, we have to do like this. No, doesn't make sense. 99% there is a reason for everything. Maybe 1% somewhere Oracle may make some way of doing, we have to follow, but there also we can understand to get some sense. Yeah. Anything, just if you have any that sort of questions also ask me, we will discuss.
So,
yeah.
do we have how many chart of accounts can we have in a organization?
We will discuss all these points when we are going to discuss that relevant topic. I'll explain, but to answer your question, n number of chart of accounts you can create. If I say n number of, on what base we have to understand, right?
Right.
That is a concept. We will discuss at the time, but to answer just your quick question, my quick answer is n number of chart of accounts you can create.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one last question. So recently we have seen, right, Alphabet became the parent of a Google. So in the current scenario, so
what is that? Can you repeat?
No, we have seen, right, Alphabet become the parent of a Google company, Google, right?
Oh, okay, that acquisition. Okay, yeah.
Right. So now Alphabet is like a parent company, and under the Alphabet we have a Google, correct? So here Google becomes one chart of account, and Alphabet is like a company. Like how that?
No, not required. Not required. Not required.
Uh-huh.
So there is a concept called as enterprise structure. There you will understand all these points. Okay, whatever the questions you are somebody is asking, those are future questions basically. But I'll just do like I should respect now also. So I'll answer, but you cannot understand the complete sense. Okay, when we deal with the concept, you'll understand. See, in this scenario, so that company you can take into the same chart of accounts as a parent. You can make Google as a child to that. That's it. Into company value set.
Okay, yeah. So Alphabet is like a DLF corporation here, and under the company I can see Google. And in case if other companies are there, they are all.
Here only you maintain one more company as Alphabet. that's one. See, these are the future questions. Okay. So when you create the values, we create the parent and child values. Okay. So X is parent company. Okay. These three are childs. This is a parent. Now, which company acquired you can take in this level? These three will become under this.
Okay. So like suppose
there
Google
may be
and
one more company called as Y. It's also parent for few companies. You think these values are companies. Don't think as departments for our discussion. Okay. Under X company, how many companies we have? 3. Under Y company, how many companies we have? 4. Take as companies. These are the companies. Now, for X is parent for these 3, Y is parent for these 4, right? For X and Y, parent is G. This is how you can build a hierarchy. The system.
Okay.
These are all we will learn later.
Okay.
It will be so early and a lot of confusion it will create now. I am going to cover everything. What definitely you should know. Okay, we'll cover.
Okay. Thanks, Lakshman.
Yep. Thank you.
So the chart of accounts, is it like at a country level or is it at company level? Once they create one chart of account structure and the values and everything.
Any level, more than that also I will explain later.
Okay.
Yeah. So see all this, the questions what you are asking, the points what I have to explain. Along with that, there is a lot of other information. The slowly will understand. Okay. Now you take as the initial like these points. You will come to know automatic. Those are the very basic point which you have to understand what you are asking. That I am going to cover. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Any other questions, please?
Yes, sir. One small question.
Yeah.
So related to this department value sets, we have inserted like 5 to 6 departments like finance, HR, XYZ. So
Correct.
any add-ons or any removables, will we get any assistance from the client or we have to take decision?
See, client not. Who is client? Client is going to use this. We are doing all this for client as a consultant.
Okay.
Client will take assistance from us.
Okay.
To add or remove. That's it.
Okay. For
what
this,
we are not able to do, for that we take assistance from Oracle because product is owned by Oracle, right?
Yes.
We are helping to the client because they are not experts on Oracle Fusion. We are experts. That is only the point.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, we have defined the chart of accounts and we have gone to project on live. After going to on live, can we make any changes in chart of accounts? Means like adding any departments or
No.
changing?
No. Anytime you can add the values. Okay. Anytime you can increase the companies. You may start one more company, you can add it. You may start few more departments you can add. You may deal with the different activities you can add. But segments, you cannot change it. You cannot add the segments. These all I will explain in the best practices.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we can discuss and before the best practice also anyway that will be discussed. Okay. So ideally before we go and create the chart of accounts, we discuss all these points. That's how I planned. But to answer your question, system will allow you to add new segments at any point of time. We should not add. If you add, system will create data inconsistency issues. It will disturb entire existing data. Entire system will be failed. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
The bottom line is we should not add the segments once you start using the chart of accounts. Any other questions, please? Yeah, seems to no questions. If no questions, that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.